And so, Adam, I want to quickly give a shout out to our sponsors for the NACDEP 2021 conference. And so thank you to University of Idaho and Washington State University for being the platinum level sponsors. And then thank you to all of our bronze sponsors, including Alaska, Oregon, New Mexico, Colorado, Guam, Samoa, Nevada, and Arizona universities, and then all of our regional economic development centers. So thank you very much for those contributions.
Well, in the effort of conserving your time and maybe giving you a little bit more of a break before the next session, we'll go ahead and get started with our annual business meeting. First of all, welcome. Good afternoon to those on the West Coast. I think it's still good morning. And this is a West Coast conference planned by our Western area. And so good morning to them for sure. I would like to move or request a motion to approve the annual business meeting agenda that you see before you.
I'll make a motion, Adam.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Do I have a second?
Second, Susan.
Okay, I have a first and a second. Any discussion or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor, and we're going to do this in the chat, so it's way easier. We've got a couple of policy decisions later on, so yes or no in the chat, up or down. And I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat here, but okay, looks like the motion's approved. First order is, again, welcome. We had hoped that this conference was going to be happening in real time and space, but unfortunately, we went virtual. But I think so far it's everything's gone very smooth that I've seen, and I'm excited to see a lot of new faces along with the old friends that I miss getting to see face to face and socialize with. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on some of what the board's been working on this year. It obviously has been a very different year for NACDEP. Normally we would meet face to face, your board would meet face to face during mid-year, and we weren't able to do that. So I think something got messed up on my, okay, sorry about that. So I also wanted to recognize our state chapters. And we had Idaho. I've heard that we might have one on the horizon, which is great. We'd love to have our state chapters and have them more involved. And we'll move on to the treasurer's report. So Nancy, did you want to start us off here?
Sure. Next. Thanks. I'll just touch on a few highlights. We had a new peak this year since 2016. So our organization is 15 years old. And here we are topping 170,000 again for the second time, which is great news. So it's up from about 25,000 from 2019. A lot of it has to do with membership having rose by almost 30%, which is great. Shouldering more of our expenses, which is something we've been working towards doing, moving from strictly or too much dependence on our conferences to more dependence on memberships. Sponsorships has helped a great deal. Sponsorships is still relatively new for us with conferences. So it really is beginning to pick up steam, and that's been great. In the last 2 years, we've been able to transfer funds to our new Vanguard fund to support endowment. In fact, this past year, 36,000 was transferred. We have now a total of over 53,000 in our Vanguard fund to support endowment. So really exciting highlights for the year. Next slide, please, Adam. So here we see a trajectory over the last 15 years of where we've been, where we are going. We're currently up quite a bit. But as you can see, there's a steady incline over the years. And since 2010, we've stayed above 120,000 in at our year-end balance, which is what we're striving for based on the Finance Committee's recommendations. So things are looking good. We did have a few bumpy years there after 2016, but we're looking up now. Next slide. So in summary, it's been 5 years for me as treasurer. I'm really grateful for the experience. It's been fun. It's been great working with this fantastic team. So, but it's time to say goodbye. And Dan Eads is going to be serving as treasurer. He knows the job well because he's served at the same amount of time as finance chair. We've worked very closely together. Happy that the organization's doing well at this point as I'm taking my leave. I pointed out the fact that we are doing well, sustainably so since 2010. And we will just continue, I'm sure, to continue to expand and diversify our revenue streams. That's been our goal, and to fine tune and improve our fiscal efficiencies. So goodbye, everybody, and thanks for allowing me to serve as your treasurer.
Thanks, Nancy. It's been great to serve with you. I know I've been on the board 6 years, and so you've been the treasurer on the board almost the whole time I've been there. And so we're going to miss you, but we're also looking forward to Dan too.
Thank you.
So next we have our ComCom team, and this one of our committees is actually tag teamed between Jan Steen and Jamie Menon, and we'll have them jump in here and tell us what they do.
Thank you very much, Adam. I'll just say ComCom, as you see, hands down the most righteously awesome committee on NACDEP's committee list. If you're interested, you can reach out. Here we are as a team, co-chairs Jan Steen and myself. We're both from Kansas State Research and Extension. Then we have Gwen Stewart, who is from Ohio State Extension on Twitter and LinkedIn. Then we have Becky Nesbitt of Ohio State as well on Facebook. Our videography chair is Melissa Grismer. Then newsletter, Tom Blaine. Then our marketing liaison, I'm going to say her last name wrong, Rebecca Densig. I hope I didn't butcher it too bad. Sorry, Rebecca. Then marketing liaison, the other one is Tanya Lamo. And then a member from Ohio, sorry, I should have said their institutions. Tom's from Ohio State, Melinda's from Purdue, then Rebecca's from Texas A&M, then Tanya is from North Carolina Extension, then Jill Sockness is from Iowa State, then our member at large, although we don't know exactly what that means, is Brian Rayson, and then our member services liaison, Michael Daughtry. And Jan will take it from here.
Yeah, I'll take it from here. So roles and responsibilities, the newsletter, we solicit for articles, responsible for putting that together, publishing, distributing NACDEP news of interest to the membership. Videography chair is part of this committee who is responsible for finding, contracting, and working with the conference videography team. Social media chairs are responsible for posting NACDEP member submitted blogs, newsletter content, anything else of interest, especially during conference time, to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. The YouTube chair is responsible for reaching out to membership to solicit videos of local community and economic development work and posting it. So let us know if you have anything that you would like to highlight on our YouTube channel. We're also responsible for editing webinar videos that happen on a regular basis, as well as conference session videos. And those will be up in the next several days after the conference. And the internal communications chair responsible for communicating with members and encouraging them to complete their profiles, interact with fellow NACDEP members through our website. And some of our accomplishments for 2020-2021, priority one was a communication strategy. We organized our work around specific tasks to increase efficiency and use of time, and then we crushed it. We worked with member services to survey membership to best determine what social media platforms to focus on. Thanks to Member Services for helping out there and the people who took the survey. Member engagement was priority number 2. ComCom supported member engagement in the virtual conference in 2020 and promotion in 2021. And priority 3, committee and board structure and function. We forged and continued strategic alliances with the marketing and membership committees. And if you are interested in being part of ComCom, contact Jamie at jmenon@ksu.edu to join the team.
Thanks so much. You can see why we how much they get done when they tag team the ComCom committee. And so any of those of you who might be new to NACDEP, as we move through these committees, you know, you can join these committees. They would love to have you. They love having new members and new ideas. So as we move through this presentation, please jot down or you know, talk in the chat and let people know if you want to get involved. So next, I'm really excited about this. This was one of the big accomplishments I think that happened this year, and the development of a brand new committee at NACDEP, one that I think is very forward looking and actually is a good example of how NACDEP leads, even amongst all the professional organizations. We have a position for an 1890 institution on our board and for 1994, and I think this committee just goes hand in hand with, you know, what we're about at NACDEP. And so Michelle Ely is going to talk to us a little bit about this committee.
Hi, everybody. So just want to give you a quick update. As Adam has said, this is a very brand new committee. And so just want to give you a little bit of history. After the 2019 conference, the NACDEP board asked that we consider creating an ad hoc committee that would come together to examine some of the diversity, equity, and inclusion issues within NACDEP. And so we really want to thank Susan Kelly for her oversight and guidance in that process. And then also Adam, because Adam has continued to support us as we have worked in this capacity. So I along with Krista Tyler Mackey and Rachel Wareborn, we initially kind of served on that committee, and we start looking over some of the action items to consider. We also looked at some of the information that we have received from prior conferences as we have looked at some of these issues with the collective body. And so with their input and looking at the information that we received, we also joined with Emily Proctor and Michael Wilcox. So have to give shout outs to both of them because they were very instrumental in helping us navigate further, working through the confines of the of our policy procedures and things like that in terms of what would it look like if we would petition to see if this work needs to be more in a bigger format, more extensive than just having an ad hoc committee. And so, I mean, an ad hoc committee, but also having a working committee. So we just wanted just to thank them and their work. And so many of you probably saw the petition that was sent out in April, I think in our spring newsletter, that we wanted to get feedback from everybody and just to see if we could get signatures in support of this work. And so just recently, I would say, in May, we was able to draft some language about chartering a new committee. This would be the 10th standing committee that we have in NACDEP. And so with that, we just really got resounding support from the board, and they agreed that it was necessary for us to establish this new committee. And so, you know, on the slide, as you see, these are some of the things that we want to look at within the committee. You know, we want members to give us input in terms of how we can examine our policies, our practices, you know, and some of that could be just reviewing some of our mission statements, our vision statements, looking at barriers to membership, active participation. We also feel like it's necessary for us to look at ways that we can provide professional opportunities to our membership who are interested in learning more about DEI practices, how to incorporate some of that work in our programming efforts. Another area is recruiting, retaining diverse employees within community development. And so many of us are serving on different search committees, and we're always are asked to look at how we can diversify our organizations, but also within our membership. We can look at even how do we retain and recruit possible members that are working in communities that are high risk and whatnot. So what does that look like? Another goal is promoting diversity, equity, inclusion efforts within NACDEP members and communities. And so I felt like we did a taste of that for this year's conference with some of the sessions that we offer. We want to continue that work, and just to make sure that we give space to the breadth of activity that is going on around the nation, and how we're in our own way are showcasing some of these efforts in our program areas. We want to work across co-op extension in support of some of these efforts, as well as promote purposeful outcomes. So this is just, again, some tasks, items that we have self-identified, but of course, some of these things may evolve and shift. But just want to echo what Adam said. We are, of course, looking for members as a new form committee. We will need members to be a part of it. And so we hope that this might be a home for some of you if you're interested. And as Crystal is saying in via chat, I'm just thank you for echoing that. We hope that you would join. And we also would like for you to consider providing leadership, serving as a chair of this committee. So just stay tuned, stay posted. We'll try to share more information to get some things out to you so you can be a part of this committee, but we appreciate the opportunity to share more information about it today. Thank you, Adam.
And thank you for your leadership on this, Michelle. It's and sticking with it. I know, it was a lot of work on you, and you were the 1890 rep and all the other things that you do, and I appreciate you really, putting this to task and putting this together for us.
Not a problem. It was really a team. So I just have to echo that all the members, so many members out there that has helped us. So thank you for all of you again, for all of your efforts in ensuring that this happened.
So another great committee for those of you who aren't on a committee yet. That's another great committee to join. And yet another great committee, Finance Committee. Daniel Eads is going to introduce us to this, but Daniel Eads is going to transition here and become our new treasurer. So Daniel, you want to talk to us about Finance Committee?
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, big thank you to my committee for all their hard work. You can see not only do I have names and institutions there, but I've got some of their background. This is a really robust team with a lot of experience. Unfortunately, you may also notice, because of that experience, right, a lot of these folks are well established in their careers. Some of them are going to be retiring soon. Coming on the heels of Michelle there, I will also say that we all look alike on this committee, right? We would welcome folks from our 1890s, our 1994s, folks that don't look like me, right? So if you are interested, we would welcome a diversity of perspectives and interests, and some young folks on this committee too, right? I'll put my name in the chat, but it's a great committee to not only, not only are you doing important work, but because of the team, you learn a lot, you make a lot of great connections, and I think it's helped me a lot professionally as I've grown. So I'm appreciative of that. Keep up to the next slide for me. So our activities, maybe not as fun, but nonetheless really important, right? So we are developing the budget along with the conference committee and our other committees. We are doing the audits, and every 3 years we have to do a formal audit. So that one's coming up this year, and then we advise the president, the board, the treasurer on what we think are some best practices that we should be doing. You do the next one, Adam. So we had a really busy year in 2019. 2020 was just kind of reflecting on some of those past changes. Nancy mentioned the importance of diversifying our income streams and trying to take some of the weight off the conference. We increased the dues structure to make it a little bit more in line with some of our peers in JSEP organizations. That has been great. It's really helped And we're also looking at what we can do around sponsorship. So again, some of our other peer organizations do a good job of having sponsors that are featured throughout the year, and are visible and show how they support the work that's being done. We'd like to try to get some more sponsors like that as well. So again, I'll throw my contact information in the chat, and we would love to have you all join us.
And thank you, Daniel, for putting something about the playbooks in your presentation, because it reminds me to let everybody know that if you're interested in a committee, you can always go to the NACDEP website and find our playbooks. And the playbooks are what tell you about what the committee does and what the tasks are. So if you want to kind of check it out a little bit beforehand, you can always go on the website and check out those playbooks. So thank you, Daniel, for your service.
So thank you.
Jamie Ray wasn't able to make it on with us today. She had a last-minute conflict, but Jamie Ray Walker is our Journal of Extension representative. You may not know this, but we do have someone who reports to the board so that we can keep abreast of what's happening with Joe. And so she had some updates to tell us about, just that we have a new editor, there's a new web page, and an entirely new editorial model as well. And it's important for us to stay active in Joe as community development. Here's a list of the Joe associate editors. You may recognize some of those names on that list. And it is a time of transition at Joe. And Jamie Ray asked that if you experience any kind of glitches in submitting articles, or you feel like it's taking too much time or something's going on, please reach out to her. She is sort of our conduit, our contact with Joe, and she can help, find a constructive way to resolve whatever you might have as an issue, or if you have a colleague with an issue. Jamie Ray is a great contact. So there's a lot of ways you can get involved in Joe. You can be a reviewer, or obviously you can be an author, and just support the Journal of Extension through readership. There's also a segment of that, the Joe website, that has extension jobs. So if you know somebody who's looking for a new position, or you want to see what's happening in the extension community, you can go on that website. And so here's Jamie Ray, if you want to take a note of it. Jamie Ray's email address. So please contact her. Anything related to Joe. Jamie Ray for some years now has been our contact person. So thank you to her. Marketing committee. Emily Proctor is our chair of this committee, and like the others, take a listen to what Emily has to say, and hopefully you'll be interested and maybe join up with her in the marketing committee. Emily?
Good catch, Adam. So this past year, 2020, was a bumpy road for our particular committee, given the pandemic, COVID, and I want to let you know, though, that the times that we have met, we had great conversation about how we can continue to connect with our lifetime members, our students, and in particular, how we're able to work with other committees such as ComCom and membership to gather that data so we can reach out to those who are part of 1994's 1890s, our students, lifetime members, to really create marketing materials that would entice them and encourage them to join and partake in our particular activities. And we did have a discussion about working on a video to further enhance NACDEP to work with our historian. And I do want to give a shout out to our committee. In 2019 into 2020, I have absolutely enjoyed and appreciated our committee. And I know, like I said, 2020 was a rocky road, but I look forward to 2021 for myself and our team to dig back in. So please come back. And if there are folks who would like to learn more about who we are and what we do as marketing, please take a chance and join us. You won't be sorry. And we work closely again with the committees to create recruitment materials and support e-communication recruitment techniques via newsletter, social media, NACDEP website, email marketing. We provide content to ComCom, management firm, the newsletter editors for website, social media. Again, relevant content for marketing may include external focus messages to drive interest in NACDEP and extension community development. So again, Over the years, we've also worked on the brochure. We've worked on creating inserts to make it easier for folks to participate. And we continually have conversations about how we can have content and material that is relevant to our current membership, but really, how do we make this more applicable to 1994's, 1890s, and those disciplines and students too, that we don't typically have frequently attending our virtual sessions, our newsletters, or our conference. So again, I encourage folks to come back to marketing. It's going to be a banner year this year, and I just really appreciate all the effort and those who stuck by this past year. So miigwech, everyone, and looking forward to this year.
Thanks again for your service this year, Emily. I really appreciate it. Member Services. Mike Doherty is our chairman of Member Services, and he's going to jump on here and let us know a little bit about them and what they do.
Okay. If we were in person, this would be where I'd have this august group of individuals stand up. As you can see, we've got people from different types of universities and 3 of the 4 regions. We don't have anyone from the West region. We don't have anyone from 1994. We have a couple of people from 1890, but we always use more. We have, been concentrated. So we're always looking for people who are enthusiastic and interested, because we'll have some turnover, because we have turnover, it's a natural process. So this slide, though, the last line used to be, imagine you yourself here, and can't put that in there because it's too big. But again, I'll put my name in the chat if you would like to volunteer. I'd love to have you. Next. So what do we do? The biggest thing we have done is provide opportunities for the membership to be connected. This is the committee that sponsored the Wednesday webinars this year. One of the things that I was challenged with when I came into this committee was to make additional value for the membership. We had the conference, we had the camaraderie, we didn't have other things. And we came up with a webinar series, and originally it was going to be like about a quarterly series before the pandemic. It became a monthly series. We had a good selection of topics because of what had to be left on the proverbial cutting room floor from last year's conference. We went from October to April and had at least, the least attended one had 12, 15 people, and often had 30 people with these webinars. They were well received, and they will continue, though we're going to take a little bit of a break for the summer because we do want to get re-energized. We'd also like to have your suggestions. So if you have ideas, that my name will be in the chat, you can send to me. We do the conference newcomer session. We had a very good session. I would like to have had more people there, but if you'd like to find out about it, it is already posted to YouTube. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, ComCom. So that is up there. We did registration scholarships. We gave a couple away this year, and we'll honor those people in a moment here. So again, that's one of our tasks, is to find individuals who would otherwise be unable to attend NACDEP, and to give them some financial resources to help them be here. Our 4th is helping the other committees work to expand membership. And the 5th is to find out about members and membership. We co-sponsored the survey from ComCom, where a couple of years ago, this committee did a survey of the general membership, and has another one that's being planned. Essentially, our focus is to provide value for the membership, and to see what you want and see ways that you can get it. And as I said before, I did want to recognize our 2 registration scholarship recipients. They are Wani Macias Christian of Alabama Cooperative Extension Service. I apologize for probably totally mispronouncing that name. And Kyle White from Ohio State University Extension. We did not have as many recipients this year because we didn't have many applicants, because the cost of the virtual conference was so low, and by this point, many institutions were not as financially constrained as we were a year ago, but are sure that there will be additional needs next year when we meet again in person. So just remember this as we move forward. So that's what we do, and we're looking to expand on that and keep it going. So I'll put my contact information in the chat and love to have you join our team. We're also kind of righteous in our own ways. And I look much better than that picture that the ComCom used for me. I don't use that picture anymore.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for your leadership this year. I appreciate it. Recognition Committee. This is another one that we get to have a couple of folks who tag team this, Rachel Wellborn and Tamara Ogle. So if either of you'd like to come on or both, let us know what recognition does.
Yeah, so this is Tamara Ogle, and I'll give our report this year, but I have been honored to co-chair with Rachel Wellborn and work with her on the recognition committee, as well as a wealth of great committee members. And so I love working with our committee members, and there's a lot of collective wisdom and NACDEP history in our group. And so I've enjoyed learning from them. That's a list of our committee members. There could be more. There's a lot of work that it takes to get awards, from application to the awards reception. And so I would invite you, if you're interested in learning more about some of the great programs and projects that our colleagues put on, to join the recognition committee. Next slide, Adam. Oh. Right there. So to follow ComCom's Righteously Awesome, what we do is showcase your righteously awesome work. And so it's really been fun for me this last year to be able to read through those applications and learn a lot more about what's going on across the country. We do this by managing the award submission and the review process. And there's a lot of ways that you can help the recognition committee. So one is join us on the recognition committee, help us through that process, but also we need applications in order to give out awards. So submit your own work, submit colleagues' works, and encourage your colleagues to submit their own work as well. And then we do have judges from each of the different regions. And so when your regional rep requests judges, offer to be a judge and get to read through some of these great applications. Next slide. So we'll be featuring again the awards winners tomorrow in our awards ceremony, and then throughout the newsletter, or in the newsletter and social media throughout the year. But our tentative timeline for 2022 awards is to really this fall look at the descriptions and the instructions and kind of tweak any things that need to be tweaked. And then in early December, we'll open that awards portal for submissions. And then the deadline will be usually in February for submission. So, and then we go through the process of judging and notifying winners and preparing to celebrate them. That's my last slide. So I will drop my email in the chat, and Rachel, feel free to drop yours as well. If you're interested in serving on the recognition committee, just reach out to one of us.
Thanks again for your service and Rachel's service on the committee. We definitely appreciate it, and it is a great committee. So there's yet another opportunity to serve and get involved in NACDEP if you haven't. I'm glad we're getting to this next one because I know Brent's got a busy schedule. So Brent, take it away.
Greetings, I'm Brent Elrod. I'm your NIFA liaison. It's always a pleasure to join you at the business meeting and to recognize all the great work that's underway. I'd like to thank Adam for his service as chair this past year. He's done a fantastic job. It's been nice to see all the hard work, the continued growth of the professional association. So you should be rightfully proud as you step into your post-chair service. And with that, as you hand it off to Melinda, welcome her into the role. Again, thanks everyone for their willingness to serve in the board leadership and on the committees as committee chairs, as regional liaisons, as members to those committees. And so if that's not you, then see if you can carve out time in this next year to find a way to become involved. You've heard great examples of the work that's underway. I'm always amazed at what they're able to accomplish, and they do it in a fun and thoughtful and caring way, and it's a great organization as a result. So we can move on. As I mentioned, I represent NIFA here. I bring you greetings from our director, Carrie Castile. She was named and began work after the first of the year. So she's been getting up to speed and has recently relocated to Washington, D.C. So can be involved with the upper level leadership in the various meetings there. I think that's an outdated slide. Yeah, I think I didn't get you an updated one. We're closer to 1.9 billion with the fiscal year 21 figures. So I'll get that updated. So I missed that as in the review. Next slide. So everyone's aware of the extension side of the house, and of course the research that informs it and the education that supports that next generation of leaders. And one of the things that I'm always looking for you to encourage is to see those opportunities for young people that are interested in the earlier they can become a member and recognize the professional development opportunities within the association, the better, and the more likely they're going to stay long term in terms of the field in terms of agriculture, food, and ag sciences. Next. I wanted to leave you with a few links, so I'm guessing these slides will go around. We have had lots of changes over the past year plus due to the relocation from DC to Kansas City, and so we got lots of new people in place. We have those listed now in various ways through the overall arching organizational chart, and then links to the program leaders and the various sub-institutes within the agency. I can always be a conduit if you have a specific interest and you don't know who to reach out to. I'm happy to help make that contact and set up a virtual introduction or a phone call for you. We're still allowing lots of COVID flexibilities as long as the pandemic continues to unfold. We have a dedicated webpage that we keep updated. Again, if you're near the end of a grant or an award with us, you need to make sure you're checking in on the COVID flexibilities that you might be able to take advantage of. Project Cafe is our response to the stakeholder feedback that we've received over the past few years. We are likely to include some listening sessions going forward here this summer into fall. I hope to have more information that I can share with the larger group within a short amount of time. But when you do see that announcement come out, we encourage you to participate in the survey, and then also if there's opportunities for the virtual listening sessions to be a part of, we want to make sure that we lift up the messages and the learning that you already have offered. We've got an RFA calendar that folks can kind of begin tracking. We're trying to get on a regular schedule with the release of our grants. And so this is the most up-to-date schedule. And we start to project out now for the fiscal year 22 announcements. You can make your plans, know when you need to block out time for some of those writings for good proposals. And then we do have some new innovative grant opportunities that folks should explore. And again, if you have interest about any of those, reach out directly to the program leaders or again to me, and I can help make that contact. But again, thanks always for everyone's participation in the professional association, your support of the conference, and the continued good work that you do back at the state and field offices. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you for your leadership and for your consistent support of NACDEP and NACDEP members. We truly appreciate you being there and are happy to see that you're still there through thick and thin and through everything. It's nice to see your face. So
appreciate it. All right, stay well, everyone.
So we also have regional representatives. Those of you who are looking towards performing a leadership role in NACDEP, these elections, we have elections for different positions every year, and regional rep is a really good way to get your feet wet as far as being part of the board and being involved in leadership at NACDEP. And I believe these are our current regional representatives. Katie Hoffman in the West, Susan Jakes is our Southern, Molly Donovan in the Northeast, North Central is Brian Raisin, Michelle Ely in the 1890s, and John Phillips. Unfortunately, Henry Thompson had to resign, and John Phillips agreed to take on that position for the remainder of her term. We actually looked to the bylaws for that, and so that position will be re-elected at its normal time. And I believe Michelle Ely is going to come on and talk to us a little bit about what the regional reps do.
Hi, everybody. So just want to give you a quick update in terms of the things that we have done. As you well know, the role of a regional representative to serve as a liaison to their respective region. And so in that, we try to connect with you concerning your concerns and ideas, and make sure that that information is being conveyed back to the board. And so we appreciate you trusting in us to serve in that capacity. And it's been a really good tenure for all of us, I must say. But here's some of the things that we've been working on. So first, one of the things that we wanted to do as a priority is member engagement. And so we did that through several ways. We did quarterly Zoom updates and sharing. Some of these things were kind of already highlighted. We provided some professional development opportunities. We also looked at ways where we could do some cross-state collaboration because some of us are working in program areas that are similar. And so those opportunities come up from time to time. Encourage members to renew their membership, or prospective colleagues to maybe consider NACDEP as an organizational home for them. And we also recruit members to serve on committees, and that's so important. And I feel like that would be something that will continue as others serve in that capacity. Priority 2 is around communication strategies. So thinking about the value proposition that NACDEP offers, and making sure that that is clearly being identified and expressed to new and current members. We try to provide regional updates on a monthly basis. A lot of those updates are shared during our regular board meetings, as well as we try to update with you things that are maybe coming down the pipe from the executive board. And then the other priority, which is a fun priority, is just to make sure that, we should enjoy the things that we do, make sure that we're having impact, and just recognize the fact that NACDEP is a family to us all. So thank you for your continued support. And to just like I say, it's been a pleasure serving. And so in addition, just want to announce this probably 2 item that 2 of our board members are rotating off. Brian Raisin from the North Central and myself, we're both rotating off this year off the board. So we want to thank Brian for his service and how he has helped us and has been our technology guru on the spot, in addition serving as regional rep. And then we want to recognize Kara Salazar, I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong, who is with the Purdue University Extension. She's going to be serving with the North Central. And then we have Joy Moulton Thomas, who will be serving as the 1890 rep. And she is with Cooperative Extension at Fort Valley State.
Thank you, Michelle. I also want to recognize our management firm. If you have not met Ricky, you probably have met Ricky, but just virtually, and you didn't know it was him. So Ricky is who handles everything on the back end of your membership and manages member clicks, and he's the one that sends out the newsletter. Any emails that you get probably come from Ricky. And so just wanted to take a moment to recognize the work that Ricky does for us. And I know in talking to the other professional organizations, they're probably pretty envious of the work that Ricky does for us. And I think that it really helps us as a board and us as members be able to spend our time in camaraderie and working together and not having to worry about all these other back end things that Ricky and the association source takes care of. So thank you, Ricky, for everything you do for us and for the organization. Next, I'm going to sort of pass this part off to Susan Kelly, our past president, and she gets the luxury of being in charge of the bylaw committee and resolution and policy. And so she's done a lot of work this year and has a couple of things that we're actually going to vote on this time around. So Susan.
Thank you, Adam. Yes, I'm actually here to put some business in the business meeting, I think. It's been a great meeting so far. One of the tasks of being a past president is to chair the Committee on Resolution and Policy, and this has been a very fun year for that. You can change the slide, Adam. Please, oh, there you go. Please take a look and mentally thank these folks who agreed to serve with me since January to pour through the Policy Procedures Manual and the NACDEP bylaws, and to consider some things that are important to our organization that could need updating or change. So we had members, and we also had special folks that gave us some additional input this year, and thank you very much for that work, you all. Next slide. So we started off with some things that we knew we wanted to look at. We ended up making 8 updates and changes to the policy and procedure manual that were voted on in the April NACDEP board meeting by the executive committee. The executive committee makes changes in policy and procedure, but it takes all of you to make changes in the bylaws at the annual meeting. So that's what we're doing here today. One of the first thing we wanted to look at was the membership year, whether it was serving our members well to have the year that we had. We ended up just lengthening our period of our grace period for renewal in our policy, and that took care of that question, so we discarded that one. We did look at membership requirements with the percentage of extension appointment, and Melinda Grismer did a lot of work on this one with some help. Looking at the JSEP membership, we wanted to mirror what they have. We also recognize that a lot of our members are not straight extension appointments any longer, and we want to capture as much interest and talent as we can out there in the community development world. So that's going to be one of our bylaws issues today. And then finally, you may remember back in 2019 when you were all in Asheville, a very fond memory of mine. There was a great session, a full ballroom of folks working on the issues of race, and with a table dialogue with the team that worked with that, and they left us with a great compilation of their suggestions and ideas, and some of those Michelle read earlier. And so one of our charges we knew this year was to take a look at that and make diversity and inclusion more evident in our mission and vision. So for the first motion, the Committee on Resolution and Policy moves that we add these words to Article 3, Section 1, which relates to membership on page 2, if you're following along in your bylaws. The words that we would be adding are at least 51% of NACDEP membership will be composed of educators with a 25% or more extension appointment. That might sound like something that doesn't make much sense, but that is mirroring the JSEP organizations which we're a member of. So, Mr. President, that is our motion.
Okay, since we have a motion from the committee, it doesn't require a second, but I will call for discussion if there is any. Okay, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. And again, we'll do this in the chat, so you can make your vote in the chat, either a yes or a no. And then if I could have, Crystal, if you would kind of watch that chat and let me know if it's a yay or nay. I can't see the chat with all the stuff going on my screen. So we'll call for the vote.
And I only see yeses, Adam.
Okay, I'll take that. Okay, and it's good that we're doing this way because we're recording it, and then that way we'll have all those votes recorded as well. So, so we'll move on. So motion passes.
Thank you. Motion number 2. This was the diversity, equity, and inclusion question that we looked at. That's probably a little bit hard to read. So our motion involves adding some words to committee membership in Article 11. And Daniel actually, I don't know if he knew he was setting me up for this, but he actually mentioned that he would really like to have some diversity on his finance team. Well, we're asking NACDEP to make that a requirement, and when at all possible. So the words that the committee would like to add, we move to add and land grant institution diversity 1994, 1890, and 1862 to our committee membership. So that is our motion.
Okay, thank you. So we have another motion on the floor. Do we have any discussion regarding the motion? Okay, hearing no discussion, we'll call for the vote. Again, please vote in the chat box, yes or no.
I can't tell where motion 1 ended and motion 2 began, but it's okay.
The time,
Should be able to
there's a
tell on the
timestamp.
recording.
Okay, there's a timestamp.
Thank you, Joy.
Yes. All yeses.
All yeses? Okay. I'll declare the motion passed. Thank you, Susan, for all your work on the committee, and thank you to all those who helped to form these policies and inform these policies. I do want to take a moment to recognize the new board. As Michelle said, we've had an election and we have moved some positions around on the board, so I did want to recognize them. That your board is 1994 representative is going to be John Phillips, and this would be for the coming year until the next conference. 1890 representative is Joy Moten Thomas. Western representative is Katie Hoffman. North Central is Kara Salazar. Northeast is Molly Donovan. Sorry. Southern is Susan Jakes. Treasurer will be Daniel Eads. Secretary will be Crystal Tyler Mackey. I will become your past president. President-elect will be Rebecca Dudensang, and your new president will be Melinda Grismer. I also need to thank our outgoing board members. Susan Kelly, our past president, who quite frankly has been a mentor most of the time I've been on the board. In fact, I think I have her to blame for being on the board originally as in 1890. And then as a president as well. So thank you, Susan, for all your years of service, and thank you for being such a good role model as president. And if you didn't notice last year's presentation, I actually did some good R&D on Susan's presentation from last year, and I ripped off and duplicated it. So she kind of helped me out there too. Nancy Bowen-Elsie, our treasurer, she, as Nancy said, she was treasurer for 5 years. Truly appreciate her service. She was such a solid individual in that position. And as you can imagine, that position requires a pretty solid individual. And we're looking forward to having Daniel there as well, because I feel the same way about him. Brian Raisin, I think I might know Brian since I started NACDEP, and maybe even before NACDEP, as he was on our advisory group for extension at West Virginia State, and have always enjoyed his, him on the board and just him as a person. If you know Brian, actually, if you're in NACDEP, you probably do know Brian. I don't have to say if you know Brian. And then Michelle Ely, I can't thank her enough. She came back. She was a representative, an 1890 representative very early on, and has come back and done another 2 years as a representative and led some of the efforts that she has. And truly, these 4 individuals are some of what I see as some of the great leaders in NACDEP. So thank you again, all 4 of you, for your service. Truly appreciate it. And now it's my honor to pass on the gavel to our next great leader, Melinda Grismer.
Hi, everyone. We want to tell you a little bit about our Indy conference first, I believe. Do you have those slides next? So the Purdue team is already planning to host you in Indianapolis next summer from June 5th to 9th. 2022. So make sure you have that on your calendar. We're really looking forward to having you. And before I talk about a few things I'd like to talk about as the incoming president, I thought it would be fun to show this promo video so you can get all excited about coming to Indy next year.
The Purdue University Community Development Team is thrilled to be hosting the 2022 National Association of Community Development Extension Professionals Conference from June 5th to 8th, 2022 in Indianapolis. Indiana has a lot to offer. We are proud of our diversity, our traditions, and oh yes, our famous pork tenderloin sandwiches. You will have endless opportunities for fun and fulfillment when you visit the Hoosier State. Our venue for the 2022 conference will be the Alexander Hotel. Located in the heart of Indy, the Alexander offers a blank canvas open to infinite possibilities. With over 16,500 square feet of conference space, flexible meeting rooms, museum-curated exhibits, and a creative culinary approach, the Alexander is the art of inspiration. Purdue looks forward to serving as your host in 2022, bringing you a diversity of mobile workshop options to explore all aspects of the city of Indianapolis and its surroundings. We hope you will consider joining us in the fast lane as we create connections at every crossroads next summer.
It's my honor and privilege to serve as the incoming president of NACDEP and also the co-chair of the 2021 and 2022 NACDEP conferences. During my term, I hope to focus on increasing our organizational inclusivity and maximizing our outreach efforts. So as you've heard talked about a lot today during the business meeting, in April, the NACDEP board voted to dissolve the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Ad Hoc Committee and make the DEI committee an official board committee, the 10th official board committee that we have. So during the next board meeting coming up this Friday, we need all of you to help us find a committee chairperson and committee members to serve in this important capacity so the work can continue. Additionally, since NACDEP's creation, there have been many changes to extension structure and funding. And as an organization, we want to welcome everyone who's involved in community development, regardless of the source of their funding or the percent of their extension appointment. So as you also saw, we've got room in the bylaws to do that. So we're excited to move forward and really maximize our outreach efforts. Inclusivity is an issue I anticipate we'll discuss extensively this year, along with the idea of onboarding new communities of practice. Land use is our first, and producing a NACDEP directory of members, expertise, and interests, something I wanted to do for a long time. You can ask anybody on the board. I look forward to these conversations and many others and the innovation and progress that they bring. One thing I know for sure, there's no better group of people with whom to brainstorm. NACDEP is full of creative problem solvers and lovers of community who will strive to make this the best organization it can possibly be. So join us next June in my home state of Indiana for an in-person conference, but don't wait until then. Today in this virtual space, join a committee, have a conversation, make a connection, and then we'll see you live and in person at next year's conference where we'll make connections at every crossroads.